Welcome to IIT Bombay and welcome to the Entrepreneurship Summit 2014. Since its inception, this institute, IIT Bombay, has fostered an atmosphere of innovation and entrepreneurship. And many alumni of this institute have become very successful entrepreneurs and have created innovative companies. Our keynote speaker, Mr. Bharat Desai, is an outstanding example with his company Syntel. Today, I'm very happy to announce a new initiative. IIT Bombay is setting up the Neerja Sethi Entrepreneurship Centre to further promote entrepreneurship among students. This center has been set up with a generous endowment from our alumnus Bharat Desai, who's in front of you. He has donated $1 million to essentially start this center and its activities.
You know, entrepreneurs think differently. They're not afraid to challenge conventional wisdom. Whether it's Christopher Columbus, who set out west to find India and create an economic advantage for his country, or Steve Jobs, who was looking to find a more effective way of making films, or a totally integrated voice, data, video, personal computing experience. Each of them started with a leap of faith. A leap of faith is critical in an entrepreneur's journey. An entrepreneur is conditioned and very adept at tackling uncertainty. They're not afraid to tackle unknown problems and find solutions. Joining the IIT was tremendously helpful because I think at the IIT we were encouraged to explore areas beyond our comfort zones and grow. As a teenager, I hitchhiked from India to the Far East, and that for me was a life-changing experience in terms of learning to deal with the unknown. So how does an entrepreneur get started? You can look for an underserved need, which would be perhaps growing a market at a with low-cost products, or a subliminal human need, which could be serving very high-end markets with luxury goods. Whichever you choose, you should be very clear about the value your product gives to your customer. Throw in healthy doses of passion, resilience, and constant follow-through. Most important, self-belief. You will be challenged plenty of times by people who will be naysayers. Remember, your job is to actually swim against the tide as an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is a very lonely journey. And just like poker, it is an all-in bet on yourself. One attribute that's very important for entrepreneurs is to have a very firm vision of the future and bet on it big. In 1992, I remember when we were a staffing company providing technical resources, I had the hunch that the future was going to be in offshore outsourcing or global outsourcing. And we invested $500,000 at that time on a 9.6K line. That represented over 100% of the profits our business made that year. You have to trust your gut. In the late 90s, it became clear that our global outsourcing model was working, and that we would now have to scale significantly to serve the needs of our customer as the market evolved. It's important to have good advice. And my recommendation to you is don't go for experts or brand names to be advisors or board members for your company. Select people who you trust, who will give you honest advice and whose advice will be unbiased. They will serve you much better in the long run. As you grow and evolve, make sure you keep other interests in life. For me, those have been, over the years, bridge, which I played a lot when I was here and played in many tournaments. Cricket, that I've been passionate about since I was a kid. And then, over the last few years, I've got very passionate about yoga. Over the next decade, almost 1 billion people will enter the workforce. 90% of those people will be in Asia or Africa. We must find ways to create gainful employment and economic empowerment for these people. I think this is a real opportunity for you guys to tackle opportunities in both the developed, but particularly in the developing economies, because over the next 20 years, the center of gravity of GDP of the world is going to shift to developing economies. We're really at an unbelievable point in time. There are 7 billion people in the world. What do they want? Happiness for their families and opportunities for their children. Through entrepreneurship and technology and innovation, we can actually deliver this. This is your moment, guys. I would like you to seize this moment.
Very importantly, we are starting new programs through this center. One of the important programs would be a BTech minor in entrepreneurship, which is going to be an incentive for students who want to pursue this, and as they are studying and completing their course, they would get the benefit of exposure to the entire entrepreneurship realm. Essentially what happens is that when you start thinking about something, you need to go beyond that. We need to have something which is we have worked with and created, and this can be then shared and tested and validated by the likely people who are going to be potential customer for that. And therefore we are going to set up these new centers. But our idea is to create our own unique model for IIT Bombay, taking the inputs from the best and leveraging our strengths and our possibilities. And therefore we believe that we should be able to create this new concept and new model which will be executed in the current year. Finally, the roadmap we have set up for ourselves. We want to launch this whole initiative in the academic year which is coming now, 14-15. We believe that we have been saying some of these things earlier. This is what we see, that is the emergence of the Powai Entrepreneurship Hub, which is now really becoming a reality in the last few years. And we hope that a thriving ecosystem would be created and will continue to enlarge in times to come.